We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Big mistake. Cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, the time on night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Big mistake. Cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, the time on night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. We are a peaceful people, struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know, we gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. Cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree.
Whence in that state of brotherhood and unity, where the mind is empowered by thee, therefore widening thought and action.
Amen. Members, please be seated.
Messages from the President. Announcements by the Speaker.
Continue, Mr. Agnes.
Presentation of papers and reports.
Honorable Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to present to this Honorable House the Customs Amendment of First Schedule, Order 2021, Order number 5 of 2021.
Reports from committees. Oral questions without notice. Questions and notice. Statements by ministers including policy statements. Personal explanations. Request for leave to move the adjournment of the National Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the National Assembly and moved by a minister. Introduction of bills.
Honorable Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance.
Mr. Speaker, I present to this Honorable House the Capital Gains Tax Amendment Bill 2021, Bill number 5 of 2021, a bill intituled an Act to amend the Capital Gains Tax Act, and I move that the bill be read the first time.
Let the bill be read the first time.
Capital Gains Tax Amendment Bill 2021, Bill number 5 of 2021. Public business, government's business.
Honorable members, the Assembly will now resolve itself into Committee of Supply to begin consideration of the estimates of expenditure for the year 2021. We are now in Committee of Supply. I will give persons a few moments to gather themselves together because we are going to be moving and lots of references to deal with. So let's take a few moments to get ourselves ready and to allow for the staff of the Office of the President to be in place. As everyone knows, the schedule was agreed on by the entire House. There are specific times slotted for every agency and program, and let us ensure that we can deal with all of your concerns while at the same time keeping our eyes on the time. Honorable Minister Gail Teixeira, you and your staff are ready? So Office of the President is allocated 2 hours and the time will start now at 10:15.21. Can we now turn to pages 62 and 63? And we're dealing with Agency 1, Office of the President, current expenditure, pages 62 and 63, 011, administration. And I propose the question that the sum of $1,143,258 form part of the estimates. Are we in the wrong place? Sorry, 1,143,258,000. Someone said, don't worry with the zeros, it got no value. And I propose the question. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would like to refer the Honorable Minister to line item 6116. That is the contracted employees.
Go ahead, Honorable
Thank you,
Leader of
sir.
the Opposition.
I'm just hearing some grumbling at the back. So the Honorable Minister indicate to this committee what the designation of the 24 additional contracted employees are, what their remunerations are, the date of their employment, and their designation.
Honorable Minister. Mike.
The new members of staff are a technical assistant, 2 gardeners, a receptionist secretary, a senior household service worker, security officer, director of policy projects and public affairs, technical services coordinator, director of operations, press secretary, assistant press secretary. And continue. Cook 2, a junior communications officer, 4 household service workers, national security advisor, administrative assistant, presidential advisor, admin support officer, and editor. Those are the new members of staff. As you'll recognize, a number of them are household staff for the President and State House.
Their,
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
their remuneration, please, Mr. Chairman. That's one of the questions I'd asked.
Remuneration technical assistants, 102,058. Gardener, 2 at 70,000 each. Receptionist secretary, 115,000. Senior household service worker, 120,000. Security officer, 200,000. Director of policy projects and public affairs, 350,000. Technical services coordinator, 298,000. Director of operations, 200,000. Press secretary, 400,000. Assistant press secretary, 300,000. Cook, 2 at 70,000 each. Junior communications officer, 150,000. Household service workers at 70,000, four of them. National security advisor, this is 700,000. Administrative assistant, 200,000. Presidential advisor, 700,000. Administrative support officer, 150,000. And editor, 260,000.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, can the Honorable Minister identify for us the designation of persons who would have been sent off from these positions after the 2nd of August 2020, if any at all?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, we're talking of the line item and what exists. I will caution that questions like that could come as a question from an honorable member to the relevant ministers. Yeah, but it's not, it relates, so I'm hearing a heckle talking about line item. This line item pertains to what exists. A question dealing with who was sent off and who resigned, that is best suited for a question to minister. And if we're going to maintain the schedule that we have agreed on, we'll have to stay to point. Honorable Minister, if you choose to answer, I will allow you.
Mr. Speaker, the persons that Mr. Harmon is inquiring about are not under this program.
You can read his mind?
Sorry?
Sorry. Honorable Leader of the Opposition, a follow-up.
NSA at $700,000. Could the honorable member indicate to this honorable house to whom does this NSA report and whether in fact
the line item?
the same line item 6116, you indicated that there was an NSA that had been employed at a sum of $700,000. We're trying to find out, please, Honorable Minister, what are the duties of this NSA, the National Security Advisor?
I
Honorable
believe,
Minister?
Mr. Speaker, this is a question that should come to me as a minister and not in the budget line item.
I didn't hear that, please. I didn't hear the answer, please, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, we didn't hear you properly.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the question the honourable member is asking is really suitable for question to a minister in regards to the TORs of the presidential advisors. That is not a line item issue.
So, Chairman, the honorable minister says she is not in receipt of that information. She's not prepared to answer that question.
Yeah. But I
I'll
think,
follow up.
just 1 second, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Minister. If I get you right, you're asking what are the duties of the NSA person,
Yes,
right?
please. That,
And I think Honorable Minister, this is in line with what we could do here, because this is some relating to the policies for which it's going to.
yes.
But if you choose to briefly do it and follow up, no problem.
Mr. Chairman and honourable member, the National Security Advisor's terms of reference relate to security. This is the National Security Advisor, and the honourable member, as the head of state, Office of the President, well knows what are the duties of a National Security Advisor, probably better than anybody else in this room, including myself. So the National Security Advisor is hired to advise the President on issues regarding security and defense. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Chairman, is having regard to the sum, I've noted several appointments that have been made, and there are small sums. This, in fact, is the highest sum in this line. So what I would like to know is whether there are any specific qualifications that were required for this NSA to be appointed. What are the specific qualifications?
Honorable Minister.
The honourable member, in response, the advisor to the President on security must have a security background, and the person who holds the post has such background.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
$6117. Line item 6117.
Go ahead, sir.
Temporary employees. There are 3 employees here, and could the Honorable Minister state what jobs these 3 persons are performing and the skill set that has been utilized here?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and honourable member. The staff here has not changed. The line item, it still remains 3 as in 2020, and the persons are the accounts clerk 2. There are 2 accounts clerk two at $72,053 and $73,400, and one pool attendant at $70,000. These persons were put there because they're in transition to the fixed establishment. That was what was inherited.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Line item 6291, national and other events. Could the Honorable Minister indicate to the House what were the national events this allocation caters for? Factoring the COVID-19
Honorable
environment.
Leader, what were or what is?
What is?
Okay.
Does it cater for? What does it cater for?
Thank
Chairman,
you.
I think if we are going to have these kinds of interruptions, I don't believe that the Honorable Minister will hear my question.
Just filter out the noise. Honorable Minister, we are at 6291, national and other events.
Mr. Chairman, as you will notice, there's a decrease in the allocation for this amount of money due to COVID-19 restrictions. This line usually covers events such as the national holidays, annual staff luncheon, media brunch, such activities that the Office of the President and the President may hold. This is what comes under that heading.
Thank you. Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Chairman, in relation to line item 6116, could the Honorable Minister say to this House how much of that money will be directed towards the recently announced COI that the President announced into the election fiasco last year?
Honorable
Minister.
6116 deals with contracted employees, and therefore, when the President moves in the direction you are speaking of, it would most likely come under another heading for the use of funds for that Commission of Inquiry.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to lay over the breakdown for line items 6284 and 6294?
Honorable Minister.
Can I just find my reference as we're jumping around heads? Sorry. Right now. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Honorable Minister.
For the information of the House, when we lay over, sometimes the House doesn't hear what it is, only the person who receives it. So the payment of official gazettes, TV subscription services rendered, TV and radio broadcasts, and consultancies in regards to services for the President, including the areas of national development strategies, climate change, etc. And 6294.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
6294. This amount of money, sir, as you see, is also this regards to states visits, hosting of state visits, goods for State House, such as groceries, gifts for visiting persons, purchase of utensils, because a number at State House, COVID relief packages, and dietary items for the offices under this program.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, I'm going back to line item 6117. Temporary employees 3. We had 3 employees in 2020, and the 3 months gave us a salary of 544,000. Sir, when you divide that by 3 and you multiply it by 12, you will get $2,176,000. But there's a budgeted sum here of $3,112,000. And these are staff that are on the fixed establishment. Why the increase in the fixed expenditure?
Thank you for your mathematics, my dear. These are contracted, there is no change in the staff. First of all, the 3 persons, 2020, 3 persons, 2021. These are contracted employees which the previous government had moved to transition them to the fixed establishment. And so they're kind of in limbo, waiting on the Public Service Commission. Secondly, the figure Mr. Maipol you referred to, because they're contracted workers, they receive all the benefits under this head. That's why there's a difference. So their salary plus whatever allowances and benefits they're entitled to.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Line item 6242, maintenance of buildings. Mr. Chairman, could the Honorable Minister indicate what this increased allocation for maintenance of building would detail and what works will be done for this sum of money that's been allocated?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Member. They are, for the first time in, I think, several decades, the repairs and renovation to the apartment villas in the Castellani compound.
Chairman, I'm sorry, Madam.
It's not 6242.
I'm not hearing the minister.
Yeah. Honorable members, quiet speech is a mark of refinement, we were taught, and we have a very refined minister on the floor. So please, let us ease the noise so that we can hear her. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
could I remove
Yes.
my mask? My colleagues
Yes.
here are all masked.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Harman. Yes, to answer your question, sir, this includes repairs and renovations to the apartment villas at Castellani, approximately $31 million. These villas haven't been repaired for a long time, gone through major repairs, and they are, as you know how old they are, going back to, I think, the 80s. So that is a special inclusion, and that has driven up the cost. Repairs and maintenance to buildings in the Office of the President complex. And you know all the buildings in the Office of the President, and that's about approximately 48.9 million. And general repairs at State House, Valerie Wadway House, which you know was where the National Trust, and that is the press and publicity unit in what is that building next door to State House, and the Walter Roth Museum, approximately 23.1 million.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Sir, line item 6264. Could the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say how many vehicles are in the fleet and who are these vehicles assigned to, or which designation, the office that is holding those vehicles?
Honorable Minister.
Could the Honourable Member, there's a part of his question I didn't get. You asking to know how many vehicles are where?
In their fleet under the program administration. 6264.
Yes, I've got that. Thank you. 6264 vehicle spares and services. The number of vehicles under this program is 118 vehicles.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Sir, if the Honorable Minister will be kind enough to lay over in writing the offices that are holding the 118 vehicles.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I believe these are security issues. This is the Office of the President. I think it would be inappropriate and risky. The 118 vehicles, by the way, as you may have noticed in the advertisement in the press, that the Office of the President is boarding 37 vehicles. They're being decommissioned due to their age and the state of their condition. So that is just for your information.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipo.
Sir, I'm asking the Honorable Minister, we're talking about 118 vehicles, and I'm sure that there are vehicles that are assigned to persons that will not pose any national risk in terms of their usage. I can understand if the Honorable Minister is saying 5 to the President and whoever else, but there
I
must
understand that the Honorable Minister said these are security issues over all of the vehicles. So could you move on with another question? Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Line item 6231, fuel and lubricants. Could the Honorable Minister indicate to this House the size of the fleet, any new additions that were added to this fleet that will require this amount of money to be spent on fuel and lubricants?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it's the same 118 for fuel and lubricants. And we will, when you come to the budget, you'll see that we're adding some vehicles in the capital. And this is to cater for these vehicles.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Chairman, when the Honorable Minister says we're adding some vehicles, could she be a bit more specific about how many vehicles are being added?
Mr. Chairman,
Minister.
there are 118 vehicles in the fleet. I said that there's a provision in the capital for 7 additional vehicles, which would be added to the 118, and that is why there's an increase in the fuel and lubricants.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Chairman, line item 6271, internet and telephone charges. $43 million, Mr. Chairman, is allocated under the line item. It reflects a substantial increase, which is almost about 126%, and over what was allocated in 2020. The Honorable Minister indicates what areas will benefit from this increased allocation, in particular, the designation of persons who are employees who will benefit from this, this increase. And secondly, whether in fact the government will be acquiring any facilities in this regard that will be owned by the government.
Honorable Minister.
6271? Yeah. Mr. Chairman, telephone charges include Wi-Fi, internet, etc. Just to advise the Honourable Member, in the column for 2020 revised, we're dealing with the 3 months for the 2020 and not the entire year. When we add the entire year, which you have to go to the Ministry of Presidency, plus the figure here, you will find that there is a difference of only $1.2 million. The increase caters for additional DSL lines for new units that are being set up, including research and monitoring and evaluation units.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Halley.
Thank you, Chair. The Honourable Minister stated just now that the NSA will be on the 6116, back to 6116, contracted employees. The Honourable Minister stated that the NSA will be receiving $700,000. Can the Honourable Minister state what other benefits is the NSA is entitled to, the amount and the date of employment of the year?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the National Security Advisor would get what I believe are the normal allowances and benefits, which include duty allowance, telephone, duty and telephone allowance. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I ask for the amount and the date of employment.
Honorable Minister.
$20,000 for duty, madam, and $15,000 for telephone.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipon.
Thank you, sir. Sir, back to line item 6264. From the 118 vehicles, how many are new vehicles that were added from August 2020?
Honorable Member, I think I heard the Minister saying 118 exists. We are adding 7 if we go to the capital estimates. So we have to be
How many
careful.
have been added since August 2020 to bring it to 108?
Honorable Minister, how many vehicles have been added since August?
In the 2020 budget, 6 vehicles were in the capital. They have been added and therefore come up to the total of 118.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, please. Chairman, line item 6272, electricity charges. There's been an increase in this allocation, and I would request the Honorable Minister to give us an explanation as to what's the cause of this increase in the allocation for electricity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harman, for your question. This figure includes approximately 163 million that accrued over the last 5 years that weren't paid for the Citizenship and Immigration Building, Stephen Campbell Building, which is Office of the President. So that apparently for 5 years, no electricity was paid. You're very lucky to have got electricity without paying. But $163 million is included in the 232, Mr. Harman, to pay off that debt with the Stephen Campbell Building.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, please. Chairman, line item 6273. $10 million allocated under this line item for water charges. Could the Honorable Minister confirm that this is water charges for the Office of the President only, or is this like the electricity situation that you're paying off other bills?
Mr. Harman, thank you. This water charges will include buildings under this program. So Office of the President, Citizenship Building, or what's called Stephen Campbell Building, and State House, and the villas, Castellani House, etc.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Committee Chairman. Committee Chairman, line item 6311, rates and taxes. Could the Honorable Minister indicate whether or not these taxes are only for the Office of the President, or if it includes other buildings, as well if the Honorable Minister is aware that the Mayor and City Council requires rates and taxes to be paid within the first quarter. So just to confirm whether or not this sum of $10,250,000 will be paid during this first quarter.
Honorable Minister.
Just 1 second, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. This figure is only for the Office of the President in particular.
And just to confirm, Madam Minister, will it be paid within the first quarter of the year as required by the Mayor and City Council?
Honorable Minister.
Once you approve the budget, sir, yes, it will be paid. So it's in your interest not to block the budget, no?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, there is line item 6293. 6293. Whether this allocation of $12 million caters for meals for the president, or this is for the ministry itself, all of the persons in that ministry.
Honorable Member and Mr. Chairman, you'll notice that there is no increase in the refreshments and meals. Our cabinet meetings, as we hope to get back to meeting in person, but we have not put in a large amount. And then there are some refreshments with some cabinet subcommittees if those are met. So that's where the $12.5 million is stated.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, please. Mr. Chairman, line item 6302, $9 million is allocated for training. Would wish to know whether, in fact, the Office of the President will be running parallel training programs to the Department of Public Service or the Ministry of Public Service.
Honorable
Ministry of Public Service.
Thank you, Honorable Member. This is these training programs, 9.5 million, as you know, will be held virtually in the main. And so there are trainings to do with staff capacity building. These are short training programs of 2 weeks. This will have about 50 persons attending. Office of the President Project Management course, which is longer for about 6 months and will have between 8 and 10 persons attending. An Office of the President leadership training, 1 month, again between 8 and 10 persons attending. Each one of these courses total up to 9.5 million.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, we are Honorable Member Ms.
I'm sorry,
Halley.
sir, to belabor the point, but as far as I heard from the
Honorable members, I'm trying to hear Ms. Halley.
Honorable Minister that date of employment wasn't given to the NSA, and I just want to confirm that she said the duty allowance was $300,000.
Honorable,
I can't hear what Ms. Halley said.
she's asking for the date of employment for the NSA, and if she heard correct that the duty allowance was $300,000.
I never said that, sir. I don't know if my friend is not hearing, but I apologize if that's the case. The National Security Advisor receives 20,000 duty and 15,000 for telephone. Those are the only two allowances he gets, other than the 700,000. So it
seems,
and that the date of appointment, the 8th of August, 2020.
okay. But there's some correlation, 20,000 by 15, there's a 300 somewhere, there are 3 million. Honorable Member Ms. Halley, then the Honorable Member Ms. Jones. Honorable Member Mr. Christopher Jones, Chief.
Thank you.
Ms. Halley declined.
Thank you, Commissioner Chair. Following up on the same question in terms of the NSA, is there a staff complement that is assigned to the NSA? And if so, how many persons and what are their salaries and designations?
I think you may want to ask which line item they're going to come under. Thanks. Honorable Minister.
Right. Yeah, there are no special persons assigned to the Advisor on National Security. The support staff is taken from the Office of the President, including mainly clerical and office support from 6114. So there's no persons hired specifically or additionally for that advisor.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Leader of the Opposition, did I see you moving to the mic? No? Okay. I think this is a good time for us to put the question that the sum stated for program 011 administration current expenditure stands part of the estimate. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimate. We can now turn to the capital expenditure for program 011 and we can turn to page 616 of the estimates. Honorable members,
No questions?
I now propose the question that the sum stated for agency 01, project 011 administration capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, the sum of $65 million is asked to be approved. What we would like to have is a total breakdown of this sum, exactly on what items it is to be spent. Speaker, in the legend, it states for the provision for upgrading of facilities at State House and the Office of the President, etc. It also states for the upgrading of electrical systems at OP and so on. So we'd wish to know what sums are specifically identified for each of these items.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, upgrade of the electrical system, State House, OP 6 million. Construction of storeroom, State House, 12 million. Construction of an information center, OP compound, 8 million. Construction of a garage at Stephen Campbell, 15 million. Concreting of the compound, Stephen Campbell House, 9 million. Construction of a garage at Castellani House, 15 million. Total 65 million.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last year we approved the sum of money for the electrical work, the electrical system work at State House, and I see that there is a request here again. Can the Honorable Minister inform this House what happened to the last year estimate and if it's a continuation from last year to this year?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Member. This is a continuation of the program started in 2020. There are several buildings, State House and Office of the President, that have to continue. We have to continue the project to upgrade the electrical system.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, is the Honorable Minister confirming that part of the electrical work was done in 2020 and another part is going to be done in 2021? And if so, why is it that we have put it that way, given that it's an electrical issue that we're rectifying?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the Office of President is doing it in phases with availability of money. What was 2020? We all know what was going on. And this is the anniversary of that day. And that this will be a project that's continuing into 2021 based on available funds.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahika.
Sir, project code 2405-200. I took note of the Honorable Minister indicating that 6 vehicles were purchased under this program. And we had $95 million allocated there last year, which I'm assuming bought the 6 vehicles. And now I see $67,600,000 for the purchase of vehicles. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say how many vehicles will be purchased with the $67,600,000, and and which office will these vehicles be assigned to?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, honourable member, as we stated last year, 6 were purchased and 7 are proposed for this year. They include vehicles, Land Cruiser, sedan, 30-seater bus, minibus, vehicles for the Office of the President in terms of the administration, and 1 vehicle for the PPU. So this is an upgrade of the fleet due to return, as you know, a number of vehicles which were found to be defective and are being decommissioned.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, project code 1701700, minor works, a sum of $245 million. And in the legend it says for developmental, humanitarian, and other activities. Could the Honorable Minister be kind enough to expand on what are the developmental, humanitarian, and other activities?
Honorable Minister.
I think Mr. Maipol is very familiar with this heading. So, this is under the discretion, these are discretionary funds of the President. You're well aware of that. And these are used for humanitarian purposes, people who are in trouble, who are in need. This has been used by the presidents from time we became a republic right through to do with the schools, if any schools have requests in terms of developmental works to assist a particular community or school, etc. These are all based on humanitarian and issues. It can't be projected, but it is an estimate in terms of what funds are available. The monies that were for 2020, as you know, was COVID, etc. So that these amounts of money, I can't give you a breakdown of those, but I think this is the President's discretion. What we can say to you in this House, and go on record in saying in this House, that we will account for every single cent of this money.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, line item 2507900. A sum of $50 million is allocated for the purchase of furniture. Can the Honorable Minister provide a breakdown as to the offices that will benefit from this purchase?
Honorable Minister.
Excuse me, Honorable Member, you're asking just about furniture?
Furniture and equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, the list is rather long. These are State House furnishings such as sofas, lamps, desk, refrigerator, television, security cameras. For the Office of the President itself, computers, printers, stabilizer, copier, electric kettles, water dispensers, pump, UPS batteries, offices, chairs, microwaves, binding machines, laminating machines, shredders, refrigerators, cupboards, filing cabinets, television, kitchen units, office desk, couch, projectors, smoke detectors, digital screen, scanner, 12 extractor fans, 1 mist blower, that's for COVID, 1 sofa set, one gym equipment, which you know about, Mr. Harmon. This is the gym that was in Office of the President and still is there. And they were trying to upgrade it and bring in some more equipment for the staff to use. The telephone systems upgrade, and the Presidential Guard, some new furnishing in their buildings. That's the total of 50 million.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I will now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 011, Administration Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can now go to pages 64 and 65. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 012, National Policy Development Presidential Advisory Services, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, line item 6116. Yes, contracted employees, that's what you are. Mr. Chairman, there's a reduction of 46 staffers under this line item. Could the Honorable Minister indicate to this committee the designation of those 46 contracted employees who were reduced? And can the Honorable Minister identify for us the designation of persons who were employed after 2nd of August 2020, their designation and emoluments under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. The staff count is 46 in 2021 due to 3 resignations, 1 death, and 42 members who were sent home. These include, so the resignations are the senior political advisor, the head of the political division, I think you know all these persons, sir, administrative officer, vehicle driver, died, that's the one that is a death. The ones who were sent home, senior confidential secretary, political assistant, personal assistant to the Minister of State, confidential secretary, driver, administrative assistant to the Minister of State, I think you know who was the Minister of State, special advisor to the Minister of Cohesion, secretary, special assistant, administrative assistant, political assistant, director general. I think you know that is too, sir. That's Mr. Harmon himself, sir. And that administrative officer, financial officer, OCC, executive assistant receptionist, project manager, finance officer, PMO, operations manager, ministerial advisor, operations and admin assistant, senior administrative assistant to presidential advisor on the environment, searcher, transcriber, receptionist, secretary, vehicle driver, green tourism officer, green, yes, communications specialist, public relations officer, senior advisor to the president, environmental photo videographer, and head of the OCC, Office of the Climate Change. We continue. Some of these you know very well. Regional Community Development Officer, Research Assistant Ministerial Advisor on Constitutional Reform, Head Office of the Public Parks, you know who that is too. Research Assistant, yeah, sorry, up to Head of the Office of the Public Parks or National Parks. That takes care of the 42 who were sent home
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, there's another part of the question. The other part of the question speaks towards the designation and emoluments of those persons who came on.
Honorable Minister.
This one, the ones who were terminated. I think, Mr. There's a variation in the 6116, and you've had a reduction in staff, which I thought the honourable member would be happy to know that we're saving money versus what was before. However, the persons who have been removed, I think, Mr. Harman, the ones who were sent home, I think you're very familiar with their staff since you hired them and you signed the contract, sir. So that, but if you insist, I could read it all out again. Could you pass it back?
That's not the question.
Is that your question, sir?
Mr. Chairman,
Am I misunderstanding you? Please.
You certainly misunderstand me.
Yes.
I'm asking now about the persons who have replaced them in cases where they were replacement, the designation of those persons and the salary payment.
No one has been replaced, sir, under this program and under this 6116. So there's been no replacements of those who were terminated.
Before the next question, I just want to caution the Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal. He was just addressing his Auntie Gail. You can't talk to your family while you're sitting in here.
He's my...
No,
Sir, that's not true. I didn't say anything.
You want me to get the transcripts?
If I
You
want,
did say Auntie Gail.
no, I did not.
Yes, about 2.5 minutes ago.
I'm sorry, I can't recollect saying that.
Please, if you want to speak to your family, you know what to do. Yes, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, please.
Mr. Chairman, line item 6117, temporary
6117.
employees. There are 3 employees here, and could the Honorable Minister state what jobs these persons are performing, the skill set, and additionally, the 7 persons who had previously been there that were sent home.
Honorable
Thank you
Minister.
very much, Mr. Harman. I'm glad you've asked that question. Just to advise, I'm not aware that I'm related to Comrade Mahipal. I have no genealogical link. However, I know it's the old time he has respect for the elders, so I accept that in that context. But there's no biological connection between Mr. Mahipal and myself.
Honorable
Sorry,
Minister, are
Mr.
you pulling
Speaker.
the string?
Beg your pardon?
Are you pulling the string?
Yes, I'm trying to. Sorry. To answer the honourable member's question, the 3 staff, there's three staff that are here as the cook, 70,000, household service worker, 70,000, and videographer, 162,293. The staff decrease, Mr. Harman, of 6. These persons were not terminated. They were not sent home. They were transferred to program 5. Right? The program that we'll come to in a little while. So there's 6 people, and these are confidential secretary, climate change officer, technical assistant, project manager, science and technology officer, and technical officer in the Office of the Climate Change. So they're strictly technical people except for 1 secretary, and they've been moved to program 5. Okay? So they weren't sent home.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, line item 6284. Other. Could the Honorable Minister indicate what the expenditure incurred under this line item is, and could she provide a breakdown of the total of the $20 million allocated?
Honorable Minister.
6284, Mr. Chairman, relates to the a number of areas where the president can hire consultancies, right? Oh, 6284. Yeah, it includes, sir, the payment of the official gazette, the installation of carpets, in Office of President, the Villas, State House, waste disposal, payment for signs and banners, payable for cable services, consultation fees, cubicles at the Office of the President and the Vice President Secretariat, payment for airtime on radio and television, services rendered, installation of fiber optics, and miscellaneous.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, could the honorable member give us some more specific details about this payment for fiber optics and the payment for fiber optics? There's some other one which escapes me now. But the payment for fiber optics.
Honorable Minister. Mic on.
I must apologize. We got 6284 mixed up between Program 1 and Program 2. So let me read over what is Program 2. My apologies. Consultancy fees, office furniture, repair servicing, waste disposal service, supply of, what you call beautification, such as carpets, and bat treatment, computer software, and miscellaneous. That comes to 70 million. Right. So there's no fiber optic cable in here. My apologies. It was in the Program 1.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahito.
Sir, 6264. Or I should seek clarity, sir. The 118 vehicles, is it for the Office of the President or all the programs on the Office of the President or just administration?
Which 118? That's from the previous program?
Pardon me?
Which 118 vehicles from the previous program?
No, I'm asking here at 6264.
Right.
How many vehicles are in this program?
I thought you stated
And
a
if the
specific
Honorable
number just now.
Minister, if the Honorable Minister will say 118 for the entire Office of the President, then
Honorable Minister.
This is Program 2, Honorable Member, so that this caters to the vehicles under this program. So 118 are to Program 1. The number for this program, sir, is 18. So 18 vehicles are covered under this program, and therefore the vehicle spares and maintenance are for those 18 vehicles.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Committee Chairman, line item 6321, subsidies to local organizations. Under this line, I note that it has here, amongst the list of local organizations, Youth Advisory Council. Could the Honorable Minister please provide a organization chart for this group or body? I'm not too familiar with it.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. I'm sure you have heard that the President announced that we would be establishing a National Advisory Council on Youth. This is in the process of being set up this year with a secretariat and representatives representatives from each of the 10 regions. So this figure that has been, the heading here is to include for a youth empowerment coordinator and also representatives from each of the 10 regions. So it will be a secretariat that will be set up. So it's a Presidential Youth Advisory Council. It's not an NGO. It will be an advisory council under the President. Is that okay?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Chair, I had previously asked under Program 011 on item 6116, and I asked the question again under Program 012, 6116. Could the Honorable Minister say how much of that money, if any, or where I could find it, the allocation for the establishment of the Commission of Inquiry into the electoral process last year?
Honorable Member 6116, and those that come under the employment costs are related to staff. If there's a special program such as a commission inquiry, that would come under 6284 normally, and that is where, because those are not long-standing bodies, they will be set up for a specific purpose to provide a service in terms of that. So in this case, those numbers that you see, they have nothing to do with the commission inquiry.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, under 6321 and 6322, there's an increase in allocation for the Office of the First Lady. That is $25 million allocated. Mr. Chairman, could the Honorable Minister state what additional programs will be engaged in that requires this increase from 10 million to 25 million?
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the Office of the First Lady has always had money allocated to it throughout the years, and that in this case we have a new First Lady who has a number of programs and projects she would like to be part of and to lead. And so this is to cater for a number of these programs and projects which she's adopted, like the First Ladies in other countries, of their special programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
What I'm trying to find out whether there are any specific projects or programs to which we're allocating this money, or we're just allocating a lump sum and then the First Lady will decide how she spends it.
Honorable Minister.
I think it is the same practice that has gone on for decades, and that is the allocation is made to the First Lady. She spends it according to her programs and projects, and that she's accountable in terms of the expenditure through the Office of the President.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I will now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 12, National Policy Development, Presidential Advisory Services, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can now turn to page 616, Agency 12, Capital Expenditure. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 12, National Policy Development, Presidential Advisory Services, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. I now put a question that the sum, Leader of the Opposition, you wanted to. I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 12, National Policy Development, Presidential Advisory Services, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We now turn to pages 66 and 67. The same Agency 1. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 13, Defense and National Security, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Chief Whip for the opposition, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Line item 6294, orders. We see an allocation of $100 million. Could the Honorable Minister please indicate what this sum will be used for?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the issues, as I'm sure you are aware, under this has to do with operational activities, regard to our territorial and maritime integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, line item 6264, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say how many vehicles are under this program?
Honorable Minister.
1 second. Under this head, Mr. Mai Paul, Honorable Member 6265,
Mr.
this
Chairman.
is for, sorry, 6264, beg pardon. This is for 14 vehicles, including motorbikes.
Thank you very much, Honorable
That's
Minister.
broken down by 9 vehicles and 5 motorbikes.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I turn the Honorable Minister's attention to line item 6116, contracted employees. Sir, the staffing details guide me that we have 4 staff, which is what we had in 2020, and we expended a fixed payment of salary and other benefits, $4,318,000 for the 4 staff. When I divide that by 3 and multiply by 12, I get $17,271,000, but I see an allocation here of $11,953,000. Is that a mistake? Is it or has there been a reduction in the salaries of the 4 contracted employees?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Yes. This caters to basically the civilian members of the staff, the contracted employees. The difference, Mr. Mai Paul, has to do with the fact that the then head of the Defense Board, is it? National Intelligence Committee resigned, and therefore that's why you're having the difference of 7-8 million between last year and this year. The staff now is the Defense Board Officer 1 and 2, System Administrator and Closed Circuit TV Technician.
Thank
The
you,
staff
Honorable
count
Minister.
remains unchanged.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Thank you, sir. If I heard the Honorable Minister correctly, the reason why there is a significant difference, more so a decrease, is because one person resigned.
Yes, you heard correctly.
And the one person that resigned was clearly, from what the Minister was saying, catered for under 6116. But I still see 4 in 2021. Was there therefore not supposed to be a reduction from 4 to 3?
Honorable Minister.
These are civilians that are paid, the contract sums include their allowances. The person who has taken the place of the person who resigned, they are paid through the Guyana Defense Force and not under Office of the President.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Sir, I don't know if I'm understanding clearly.
Yeah,
The
I
Honorable Minister
understand.
said that the reason why there is a difference in terms of less money here is because one person resigned, which indicates that that person was being paid in 2020 from this line item. And I'm saying that the staff in details has 4 for 2020, which means that person was included there. Now, since he has resigned, there is supposed to be 3 on the 2021, but we're still seeing 4. So can the Honorable Minister please attempt to answer again?
Honorable Minister, maybe he resigned this year. Minister, Honorable Minister.
Just yeah, it's not the same four people, Mr. Mayapol. I'm advised that some of the people who were such as remain the same, the number remains the same, but it may not be the same people. And so the two Defense Board officers, 1 and 2, are brought into this, and the system administrator and closed circuit, so that the admin staff for this is paid from this as well. Right, these are contracted employees. The admin staff are paid under another head.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mayapol.
Sir, so the Honorable Minister is retracting that the person who resigned was not paid from this line item.
Yes, he was paid from this line. So they had 4, one person resigned, that leaves 3. Then they added on the 2 officers that I mentioned, and 1 person, what happened to them?
Oh,
Yeah. Right. Okay, so 1 person left, which is the driver, and so that remained with the system administrator and the closed TV tech who was there all along.
Thank you,
So what you
Honorable
did is lose a driver and lose the head. But you replaced it with 2 Defense Board officers, 1 and 2, and then it comes on to the same 4.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mayapol.
sir, for the avoidance of doubt and for the clarity, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to lay over the designation of the 4 that were in 2020 and the designation of the 4 that are now in 2021?
Honorable Minister.
I think I can provide that now, and that is, as I said, in case it wasn't clear, the head of the unit, the driver, the system administrator, and the closed circuit TV tech were the 4 in 2020. The head resigned, the driver was sent off, and that left 2, system and closed circuit. And then Defense Board Officer 1 and Defense Board Officer 2 were brought in. Again, people have really problems with maths.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to go back to line item 6284 on the answer which the Honorable Minister gave, that this was a security matter. I understand that. But, Mr. Chairman, what is happening here is that we are lumping Defense Board matters which are not security with matters which are for the national intelligence. And so I would like to determine...
Is that a statement of fact, or are you asking a question?
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking a question as to what is the distinction, what is the sum? I'll ask the question first of all, how is this sum accounted for?
Okay.
And the Minister said, national security. I'm asking now for a determination as to how this sum is allocated, and it's not just national security.
Thank you.
Can I just be clear, is it 6284 or 6294?
He said 6284, and I don't think we went there before.
Yeah.
6294, thank you. That's why I was a bit confused, Honorable Leader of the
Thank you.
Opposition.
I was confused too. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, this heading 6294 relates to operation activities, with regard to our territorial and marine activities. And I'm sure the honorable member knows that we have issues with some of our neighbor, with the neighbor. We are before the ICJ, and that we have to also heighten some of our activities. This is $100 million under this head of Defense and National Security.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 13, Defense and National Security, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can now turn to page 616. Capital expenditure, same agency, same program 13. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 13, Defense and National Security capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. Honorable members, I put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 13, Defense and National Security capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can now turn to pages 68 and 69. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 14, Public Policy and Planning, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Line item 6264. 6264. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say how many vehicles are assigned to this program? Honorable Minister.
There's only one vehicle, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Sir, may I ask if this vehicle, the person that is employed by the Public Policy and Planning program, is the person himself or herself driving the vehicle, or are they assigned a driver?
Is there someone employed? I didn't see
There's only one vehicle, and that's for the staff that's in that unit. What we have done is to pull staff from a couple areas in Office of the President to start building this section, so that this department or program, so that the staff is being paid under other programs until we can properly get this set up.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 14, Public Policy and Planning, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 616, the capital expenditure for Program 14. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 14, Public Policy and Planning, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipur.
Thank you, sir. Project code 3401900. Can the Honorable Minister say how many vehicles will be purchased with this 8,500,000, and what does she mean by provision for building?
Honorable Minister.
And if it is for the rental of a building, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say which building?
The $8.5 million, sir, will cover the cost of a motor vehicle for the office of the Go Invest and the building expansion on Church Street of $6.5 million at Go Invest.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member,
Sir,
Mr. Mahipur.
follow up, may I ask what type of vehicle?
Honorable Minister.
And who will it be assigned to in terms
The
of the office?
vehicle, it's the estimate of the vehicle is $2 million, and it is for the use of the office, not for any particular individual.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 14, Public Policy and Planning, Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can now turn to pages 70 and 71. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 15, Environmental Management and Compliance, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, sorry. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipur.
Sir, line item 6264, could the Honorable Minister say how many vehicles are assigned to this program?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, there's one vehicle and it's for the use of the office.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Ms. Nina Flobes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Line item 6116, contracted employees. I noticed there is a decrease by 5 employees. Could you have the designation of the 9 contracted employees?
Honorable
And
Minister.
their emolument.
The designation and emoluments of the contracted employees.
Yes, thank you. Just a minute. There's a variance of $13 million less, and that a number of the staff, that 10 members that were, sorry, there are 9 members, and these are the following. Right. Right. Yes, so there's 6 of there are 9. 6 of them are transferred into this unit from another program under Officer President. From Program 2, as I reported earlier, the Confidential Secretary, Office of Climate Change, 84,628. Climate Change Officer, 224,696. Technical Assistant, 102,058. Project Manager, Project Management Office, that's 518,814. Science and Technology Officer, 381,053. And Technical Officer in the Climate Change Office, 225,758. So these were 6 who were transferred into the unit. And these are the 3 that remained, who were originally there. These were Renewable Energy Officer, Liaison Officer, that is 306,247. Environmental Officer, 145,148. And Data Management Officer, 173,329. So that accounts for the 9 people who are in contract in that, under that 6116.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member. Honorable Members. Honorable Member, Mr.
Ramswood.
Ramswood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A very long one. Just a follow-up question, Mr. Speaker, under the same line item 6116, contracted employees. Sir, under this line item, there is a reduction in the staff of force by 9, and that makes a difference of 5. But there's a budget of $34,665,000. And in 2020, there's a spending of $5 million. So why there's a reduction in the staff, there's an increase, heavy increase in the wages and salaries. Can the Honorable Minister explain this for us?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, when you look at the column for the 2020, this is not the whole year, sir. This is the allocation, the budget of October to December. So that if you were to calculate, add up January to December, which is the Ministry of Presidency and the Office of the President, you would come up with a deficit, actually, a reduction in the cost of this unit by $13 million. The unit was closed, the original unit was closed, and it was reorganized, and therefore the numbers went up to 9, and I gave the breakdown. 6 were brought over from Program 1, and 3 were remaining who were originally in the program. And so that is how we came up with 9. The original 14, as I said, when we closed the office down, those persons were terminated.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Bess.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Line item 6117, temporary employees. I noticed there are 2 temporary employees added, and the sum allotted is $6,323,000. Could the Honorable Minister give us the designation of these 2 temporary employees and their needs and their money? Thank you.
These are 2 contracted employees who are in transition, what we inherited. And so they were contracted employees who are supposed to transition to the fixed establishment of the Public Service Commission. That has not taken place as yet. So they remain as contracted employees, but temporary, on the temporary heading, until they move to the Public Service Commission properly accommodates them in terms of them being on the fixed establishment.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member.
Did you want to know the 2 officers? Sorry, driver and a project manager. Sorry, driver and a project manager. Driver 104,561 and a project manager of 375,000. Both of them get allowances. The staff count remains 2 as it was in 2020.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipod.
Thank you, sir. Line item 6321. Sir, there is a significant reduction for the Environmental Protection Agency when compared to 2020. In 2020, there was the Environmental Protection Agency was given from the Ministry of the Presidency a sum of $402+ million, and from the from the Office of the President a sum of $306+ million, which would give you, based on what is here now, $609 million, roughly about $100 million less. Could the Honorable Minister indicate why there is a significant reduction for such an important agency that plays a vital role in the protection of our environment?
Yeah, I think I know the answer, but could you just confirm which line item you're using, Mr. Manipal?
6321, subsidies.
Right, that's what I thought you were doing. Okay, I just wanted to verify. If you go to the section of the capital, the volume 2, page 594, you'll see the environmental agency, EPA, has projection of their budget of 609 million and 57,000 for 2021. So they are treated as a subvention agency, and they have been increased. The budget is increased from 306 million to 609 million.
Honorable
Excuse
Member
me, who are you
Mr.
talking to?
Maipol, if you want to ask a question, raise the cross-talking, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, in 2020, there are two sums that
Yes.
are here. The Ministry of the Presidency gave the Environmental Protection Agency $402,912,000. And for the last 3 months of the year, the Office of the President gave $306,591,000. That would give us roughly $700+ million for that year 2020. We are in this oil and gas industry and a whole host of other things relating to EPA. And I now see an allocation of 609 million, which is 100 million or more less from 2020. So I'm asking why the reduction, and if the minister can endeavor to give a reason why the significant reduction.
Thank you, Honorable Member Mr. Mahipol, for restating. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the reduction that the honorable member is referring to, we've seen it in almost all the agencies as we've gone through. The EPA himself, the EPA itself said that there was a reduction in the field visits, inspections, and so on. So the reduction is due to COVID-19 and their inability to operate in the same way in terms of especially their inspections, they're going out into the fields, etc. So this is the cause for the reduction in 2020.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, this is now a good time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 15, Environmental Management and Compliance, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can now turn to page 617. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 50, Environmental Management and Compliance, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. That's environmental damage. Honorable Member Ms. Flobes, no? Honorable Member Chief Whip.
Thank
for
you.
the opposition.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Comrade Chairman. Agency 3401-500, Environmental Protection Agency. There is an allocation of $30 million. Could the Honorable Minister please indicate which amounts is for the completion of the roof and which amounts for the purchase of furniture and equipment?
Thank you, honorable member. The figure, the total of 38 million, of that, sir, 2,2,898,000 is the rollover for the completion of the roof. The rest of the projects, the rest of the funds are for new projects.
Thank you, Honorable
2.8
Minister.
million.
Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Thank you, Comrade Minister. Just a confirmation, 15 million for equipment and furniture. Is that correct?
Yeah, the difference of 2.8 from 30 million. So the balance, such as furniture, electrical systems, those kind of things come up to the difference, okay? So it's 2.8 minus 30, about 27 million.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, this is a good time to put the question that the sum stated.
Sir,
Honorable Member Mr. Mahipol.
Sir, project code 3401-700. I see provision for stands. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say where and the amount in terms of the number of stands and what exactly are the works to be done? And I would like to ask, of this sum, how much is catered for the Jovera Park in Regency?
Honorable Member, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, sir. The buildings of the eastern stands of the national park. So this is one figure, 13,271,000. That is a project that started in 2020 and will be completed in this year. It is rehabilitation only of the eastern stands, no other entity under the National Parks Commission.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, project code 3402-500. The Honorable Minister be kind to say what type of vehicle will be purchased?
Honorable Minister.
Wildlife, is that? This is just a regular vehicle for the use of the Wildlife Management Authority. It's approximately $3 million. That $3 million has been budgeted for it. So this is for the use of the Office of Wildlife.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, I'm not sure if I heard right. I was asking what type of vehicle.
I don't, well, I'm the worst one to ask about vehicles, but I understand it's a sedan. We can't give the type, obviously, because we have to go to procure.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Mr.
Sir,
Maipol.
But if you have a cost in here of $3 million, you must have an idea of what you're going to purchase. So you must know if you're going to buy a motorbike for $3 million or a car for $3 million, and what type of motorbike or what type of car.
Honorable Minister, any?
It's
not
a sedan.
brand, but type?
It is a four-door car. It is not an SUV. It's not a truck. It's not a canter. It's just a regular car, and therefore it's a sedan. But when you go to tender, it will depend on the price of the tenders. But it has to fall. That's what's allocated for it. No more than that.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. A regular four-door sedan. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol. Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Committee Chairman. Item 4403-600, Guyana Protected Area System. Just for clarity, it states here that provision for the management of selected protection areas, but it has the word Germany. So I'm trying to clarify what does Germany means.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, this you're correct, Honorable Member. This is the 250 million from the German funds. And the breakdown would include the Lethem office, the construction supervision of ranger stations, outposts, 2 double cab 4x4 vehicles for Shell Beach and Kanaku, boat and engine for Shell Beach, motorcycles, aerial surveys, ranger kits, smart devices, GPSs, drone, and power generation for Shell Beach, Kayachua, and Kanaku. So that and consulting services, 46 million.
Thank
so
you,
that
Honorable
totals
Minister.
to 250.
Honorable Members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 15, Environmental Management and Compliance, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can now turn to pages 72 and 73, and we are dealing with program 16, Agency 1, Police Complaint Authority. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 16, Police Complaints Authority, current expenditure forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye.
Sir. Line item 6116.
6116.
Sir, there is 5 employees in 2021 and there was 5 in 2020. And based on the amount of money we spent in 2020 for the 3-month period, 2,885,000, if my calculation is correct, in 2021 we are supposed to be spending 11,540,000, but I see a reduction to 8,802,000. Could the Honorable Minister explain if there was a reduction in terms of the benefits and salaries of these workers, or were these workers in 2020 replaced with new workers and new contracts?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the Police Complaints Authority, just to remind colleagues here in the House that this Police Complaints Authority came under the Ministry, what was the former Ministry of Public Security. It is now under Office of the President. That's number one. Number two is that the admin staff is now catered under 611. One officer is there, and then under clerical support, you have additional staff that is catered under there. So there has been, I think, some reorganization. I'm not sure of the numbers. 6115, the same thing, and 6116, there are 4 investigators and 1 confidential secretary that are under this heading.
Sir, if I may,
I'm just checking to see if Minister was finished.
I just one of the things that may be that is different here is the gratuity, which would have been included.
Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, I didn't get the last part of the Honorable Minister's response.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, as per usual, Mr. Chairman, 6116 contracted employees includes all their allowances and benefits as contracted workers under this head.
Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, okay, so the 4 investigators and
are?
the 1, pardon?
As are the 4 investigators.
What is it?
Okay.
Are the 4 investigators and the 1 confidential secretary, the 5 staff, are they the same persons as was in 2020, as were in 2020?
Yeah, the list is the same, sir. The numbers are the same. The persons are the same. The number you're looking at in 2020 column is for the 3 months of 2020. So that is why you're getting this big difference of salaries. But in fact, the 2020, if you add up what was under public security and under Office of the President for October to December, you'll see the variation is not very large.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipod.
Sir, believe me, I do understand that this is a 3-month period here for the revised 2020. But I'm saying that, and I hear the Honorable Minister when she said that the gratuity is included. Now, one would expect if you're including the gratuity, it would go up because we're now catering for a 12-month period. I'm saying, sir, that in the 3 months, October, November, and December, we spent 2,885,000. We divide that number by 3, and we get the amount we spent per month. Then we multiply it by 12, and we will know how much we will spend per year. And when I do that, I get 11,540,000. But I'm seeing here 8,802,000, a reduction of roughly $3 million.
was a reduction based on your calculations. You
Yes,
have to be
sir.
very specific.
Yes, sir.
So you have to ask the question, is this sufficient?
No, my question is not whether it's sufficient. My question is, why is there a reduction?
Why?
If the Honorable Minister said that the gratuity is now included, it is supposed to go up. And I'm asking, is there, was the contract altered? Is there a revision of the contract of these 5 employees? And I should ask, sir, what are their salaries, remuneration package, benefits, and others
Honorable Minister.
under this line item?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the 2020 under the Ministry of Public Security for the period of January to August was 5 million. January to September was 5,227,000 plus what you're seeing in the column for Office of the President police complaints, 2,885,000. So first of all, there's no reduction. Secondly, in terms of your calculations, that wouldn't be how it's done because everybody's allowances are not the same. So that this includes their allowances and their salaries. And as far as I'm advised that this is calculated correctly so that no staff would lose their benefits and allowances they're entitled to under contract.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Manifold.
Sir, given what the Honorable Minister would have said, that earlier the 9 months period, the allocation was $5 million plus. And given that she would have said that there is now, for the last 3 months period, 2,885,000 in 2020, is it fair to conclude that we would have over budgeted for this 3 months period for this particular 2020 expenditure?
Well, we're asking questions relating to 2021. So you have to confine
Yes,
to
sir, but
2021.
I'm trying to get a guidance because I am guided by our revision, by the revised 2020 number. And based on the revised 2020 number, that was the base of my calculation that led me to conclude that 11 million plus. But the Honorable Minister was kind enough to say what was the expenditure for the first 9 months of 2020. And then she added that the 2,885,000 is for the remaining 3 months of 2020. So I'm asking if it was over budgeted for or under budgeted for.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Member, the money that was spent in 2020 was 8,208,000. The money allocated in 2021 is 8,802,000. So they have additionality of 594,000. This is a 7% increase. This covers the investigators and the confidential secretary, their vacation allowance and gratuity for 2021.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Manifold.
Sir, I'll move on. Sir, 6272 and 6273. I've noticed that in all the other programs going back, there were charges that were put for electricity charge, for example, defense and national security. No, that's zero. Sir, there were no charges other than for administration. So I'm assuming administration covered water and electricity for the entire ministry, the entire office of the president. But I see Police Complaints Authority has an electricity charge, which indicates to me that it's located outside of office of the president. But I see no water charge. Will they not be paying water bill?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Honorable Member. The Police Complaints Authority, as you know, is housed in Brickdam in the same building as the Ombudsman, the PSAT, the Public Service Appellate Tribunal. They're all in one building on Brickdam, just a door away from the Housing Ministry. And the electricity charge here is where the Police Complaints Authority has their own meter in the building and they pay their electricity. The PSAT pays for the electricity with the ombudsman. They share the cost of the electricity for the rest of the building. And PSAT covers the water for the entire building. Right?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, it's a good time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 16, Police Complaints Authority, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 617. Police Complaints Authority, capital expenditure. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 16, Police Complaints Authority, capital expenditure now stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipod.
Sir, project code 2608700. The project entails provision for a generator. I am assuming that this generator will be at the same building at Brickdam. The Honorable Minister would have told us the location of Police Complaints Authority.
Yes, it would be, sir. It would
Thank
be
you, Honorable
located in the
Minister.
same place. Same
Honorable
location.
Member, Mr. Mahipod.
Sir, so therefore, is this generator going to provide backup service to the other offices that are also occupying that same building?
Honorable Minister.
I'm not aware of that, sir. I'm not aware of that arrangement with the other offices in the building.
Thank you. Honorable members, it's a good time to put a question that the sum stated for Agency 1, Program 16, Police Complaints Authority, capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, this concludes our consideration of Agency 1, and that is at 12:08.28. We have done pretty well. Let's continue like this as we move forward. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the suspension.